Lesson 18, Jacquard.
Today on CJ's Knits, we're going to discuss Jacquard. We are going to recreate this tension sample. This is 2 stripes Jacquard. This is a few rows of knot knitting. This here is single stripe Jacquard, and this is single back Jacquard. And this is single stripe Jacquard just to finish off the sample. You can see a huge difference in the tension you get from 2 stripe compared to single stripe, or putting the ribber in part at any point. How you get your results, or what results you want to have, is totally up to you. I am going to start with a few rows of 2 stripe, a few rows of single, a few rows of only 1 color, and then we will move into ladder back Jacquard and mirror Jacquard. The best instructions for Jacquard come from, believe it or not, the ribbing instruction manual for the KR850. Even if you have an 830, download the 850s. It describes in better detail the proper needle placement for successful Jacquard knitting. It, however, does not go into a lot of detail as to the amazing, and I do mean amazing, variations of Jacquard. As I said in the beginning of this video, we have 2 row, 1 row plain. I will do bird's eye as well at the end, but I rarely have luck with it. And then we have reversible and vertical stripes, both of which are very fun to do. I would like to make this sample a little bit different and a little bit easier. So we're actually going to start with 518, which is a 5-10 under 15 row 15 stitch repeat, and it's only 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 rows of actual knitting. That foot that I showed you in my photos took forever to knit. So let's go quick, simple, and makes our point. First business, turn on the machine, press step, press cancel, 518, press step, press step. All over knitting. It's already in KCR. If you don't have it already set for KCR, oh my lord, KRC, not KCR, KRC. So you want to make sure that you are in KRC, and then you are ready to knit. You have that engaged the moment you put in your pattern, so you don't forget to engage it. When we get over to the right hand side of the bed, we then engage the part buttons or the tuck buttons, because you actually have the choice of either or. I prefer to do the part buttons. It rarely ever fails for me. Because this pattern is simply 15 and 15, we only need to bring out 15 and 15. Now, move this up. Now we're going to look at the ribber needles, and I'm going to move my camera for that. One of the things that you see on the instructions for the 850 are these little dashes. Yeah, these little dashes. If your end needle is on a dash, you will not have very good bird's eye. So try and make sure that your end needle is not on a dash. However, your beginning needle has to be on a dash. So you have to adjust your pattern accordingly. So in this case, I would be correct at 15 and not at 15 going back. 1 second here, I'll show you. Okay, so yeah, the first one is fine, but the last one would end on a dash. If it ends on a dash, no luck. So we will add 1 extra needle to the top. It is not going to make a huge difference in your work. I promise. 1 stitch ain't gonna matter. If you have to do 5 or 6 stitches, you would be very unhappy. If you don't have a color changer, no big deal. You just swap your yarns every time your carriage is on the left-hand side of the bed, which is opposite of what we did for 2-color tuck, where we swapped yarns when we were on the right-hand side of the bed. That's really the only difference. The idea behind Jacquard is you have your beds in full needle rib, which means you have your ribber in half pitch. You want to load color 1, tensions on 0, 0. Everyone's knitting, nothing's in part, nothing's in tuck. KC is not engaged, you are just going across in N. Now you will put a ribber comb on. Try and make sure that your ribber comb teeth are in line with your ribber needles. And then you won't have sore toes. I tend to use my heaviest weights for Jacquard, but you don't have to. We are now going to change up the settings. We're going to put the right hand ribber side into part and the main carriage into part, going to the left. We're going to use tension 4 for this entire project. At this time we're doing a circular cast on. We're going to do 3 rows and then go back to the left. Here we go. All right, now we're going to go past the turn mark, turn on KC1. Disengage everything on your carriages. Still tension 4, KC1, nothing's engaged, going across this way. All right. We will now not engage anything on the ribber. We're going to leave it in normal knitting. Engaging our part buttons, and we're going to knit across. As I knit across, you will see the display will say the number 2. What it wants us to do is to grab the second yarn. Second yarn is now grabbed. We're still in part. Nothing changes. Now we go to number 1. That is how easy normal Jacquard is. And we are knitting on the ribber every row. Knitting color 1, and then color 2, and then color 1, and color 2. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it will once you actually watch the knitting happen. Alright, I have knit 30 rows. We are now going to change up the river. We're going to go engage the part button when we go from the right to the left. That is the only change. Okay, we've done another 30 rows. Our next change will be a plain backing. In order to establish a plain backing, you need to decide which color you want to have your plain backing. I'm going to use my yellow. So every time I use the yellow, my river is going to be in NN. Every time I pick up the other color, my river will be in PR. Let me show you how that works. Make sense? I'll finish this set and then we'll go on to bird's eye. Before we move on to bird's eye, this is the results. 2 stripe, 1 stripe, plain back. 2 stripes, 1 stripe, plain back. It's pretty neat. So what is the big difference you see right now? This is a carriage from KH940. It has these little buttons. These little buttons control which of the river needles go up and down. So if we look at it, one sec, I'm going to have to watch careful. You see how not all the needles go up? It's quite cool. One of the other important things you need to watch is this little feeder here. Okay, it doesn't go all the way up to the top. Doesn't need to. They go up and down. Sometimes it's a little tighter on the edges, looser in the middle, tighter on the edges. That's normal. The setup for bird's eye jacquard is extremely similar to that of the other kind of knitting. So I'm going to pause the video, load the yarn, do my circular cast on, and then we'll come back and we'll knit some more jacquard. Alright, past the turn mark. KC1 is initiated. N, both of these knobs are towards the tension dial. This is still in number 1. We will now knit across. And now we have needles selected. We will now change our settings. You can't see, one second. Okay, so I've pressed the part buttons. This is still in KC1. On the river itself, because we are in part, we move that up, this one to the little, this one to the little, so to the outside, and you move your middle dial to the middle, so this little dial thingy. Now, what should happen is you should get the proper patterning. Wish us luck. Here we go. I'm going to finish up a set and then we'll take it off and come back. Okay, this is going to be the big reveal. Cut my yarn, hanging it up. Now you'll see how many weights I had to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the heaviest barrel weights. Now what you see here is that I started losing it. My yarn got cut up badly. Yes, we got a beautiful pattern, but I don't think this is worth it, personally. I think that this could have been better. I don't like bird's eye. Okay, so when it comes to vertical stripes, I can't even interpret this. So I will have to ask someone else to make a video on how to get the vertical stripes, because it makes no sense to me. So reverse is one of the scariest forms of jacquard. And it is also time consuming. You have to be committed. The first thing you do, carriage in KC1, knit across. Okay, like any other knitting that you do, but here's the changes. Your ribber now goes into PR. Still in 1, that's in R, same tension. You will now take it out of half pitch. Out of half pitch, your needles are now aligned with each other. This is what makes it very scary. Carriage in part. Now you hand select your ribber needles. Every row. Hand selected, knit across, change your yarns. Okay, we're coming back. Now, hand select all of your ribber needles. Knit across. Now, looks like one of my thingies was in hold instead of in knit. So I kind of screwed this up.
Well, I'm going to stop at this low point and we'll pick it back up in the next video.